Welcome back to Identiverse 2024. This is completely live. We're bringing you all these interviews live, and we have a special interview with us right now. My guest for this interview is Damon Tompkins, Chief Revenue Officer at Pathlock. Damon, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Great to have you. I'm always excited to speak to Chief Revenue Officers because they generate money. They generate revenue. You know, you wish that money can grow on trees. They grow on CROs. So tell me a little bit about, your roles and responsibilities at Pathlock. What does a CRO do at a cybersecurity vendor?
Sure. So a CRO is focused really on that sort of initial spark of who's Pathlock and why is this relevant to me, all the way through the journey of I'm a Pathlock customer and I'm extremely happy and I've adopted the product and I feel a great degree of success. And so when you think about that totality of that journey from the spark of consciousness to satisfaction, that fence post to fence post is really where all my time and energy is focused.
I would imagine that you all are focused on identity. We're out here at Identiverse.
You bet.
Tell me a little bit about your company, Pathlock.
Sure. So Pathlock is focused on building solutions around helping organizations manage identity at the application layer and mitigating risk across your most sensitive applications that handle your favorite thing and my favorite thing, money.
Yeah.
So there's a distinct class of applications that organizations have, typically referred to as ERP applications, and that's where financially sensitive transactions take place. And what Pathlock does is we build security solutions that allow organizations to better govern, control, and understand what's taking place on those systems through the roles and entitlements of the users of those systems and the processes that unfold on them as well.
Important stuff. We're talking about money here, like you said.
That's right.
But I think it goes beyond just that, right? Because not only, is money important, does it help us, survive and thrive in this world, but access to our financial technologies also enable us to loan money to friends and family, to probably, looking at this space of identity and access management, there's other use cases like healthcare, like, many other things, like even home care. So which organizations are you mainly working with at Pathlock? Is it financial technologies or, industries across the board?
Industries across the board. And so we tend to gravitate towards organizations that have several thousand employees that are using various applications that they're facilitating their day-to-day operations on. But it's not wed to any particular vertical. The issues that we solve are fairly ubiquitous across all industries. And your point's a good one in that it's not exclusively about money. There's critical access and risk associated with being able to see sensitive information that's not necessarily financial driven. It could be trade secrets, proprietary information about personally identifiable information. So money tends to be at the center of most of ERP systems, but there are definitely other data sets that require greater degrees of governance on them.
If you look up Pathlock, you're bound to see this term called IGA. And I was excited to bring it up because I was like, yeah, perfect. I'm here to learn. That's why I'm here at Identiverse and speak to leaders like yourself. So how would you explain what IGA is?
Yeah, IGA stands for Identity Governance and Administration. It's a broad category of software products that help organizations better govern their applications and their data sets through the use of roles and entitlements on those applications. So, hi, my name's Damon. I work in accounts receivable or engineering. And as a result of that, I have certain entitlements based upon the role that I'm given in an application. This allows me to do different behaviors on systems, and those behaviors need to be governed. And so there's a broad class of applications called IGA products, and that's what they seek to do. And we're a specialization underneath that category.
And how would you describe that specialization exactly?
So we're focused on what's called application access governance. So when you look at the most important and critical applications in your app catalog, we're looking at the very most fine-grained capabilities that any individual has on that system. So you might join an organization on a Monday and you're cast into roles that allow you to do certain things. But you might need to look at those roles at a much finer level. So an example, I'll give you an analogy. Identity governance might be, are you allowed into the house? Can you open the front door? If you can open the front door, you're allowed to go in the kitchen. If you go into the kitchen, can you use the teapot? Can you turn the teapot up to the highest setting within it? So there's different levels of access and administration that you have to have. Think about that at an application layer. Do I have access to my SAP system? Do I have access to my Oracle EBS or JD Edwards system? If I do I have the ability to access accounts receivable or accounts payable? If I do, can I post to the general ledger? Can I add a vendor? Can I pay a vendor? And so there are very specific entitlements that organizations have to be mindful of when they're thinking about governing what people can do on their systems. And that's where we're focused.
I love that. I mean, getting fine-tuned, like, servicing a general category, but also having that specialization on top. I would imagine that you all brought the specialization in because other solutions weren't servicing a need. You found a gap.
That's right.
So how would you describe, the current state of where we're at with IGA?
Yep. Good, great question. So it's interesting. I get to participate in events like this that are focused on Office of the CIO and CISO. Sometimes I get to go to events that are app-specific, like SAP-specific events. And sometimes I go to events that are under the moniker of governance, risk, and compliance. And all three of these events, you'll have different groups of folks who are talking fundamentally about the same problem, but almost in completely different term sets. And so what I see in the world of the Office of the CIO and the CISO, an event like Identiverse, is lots of great innovation going on at the network layer. So do people have the ability to authenticate onto a system? Have you validated that? Have you done SSO or two-factor? But what you don't hear if you go around and visit with the vendors in the expo hall is any dialogue about whether or not people have certain rights and entitlements at the application layer. I read a stat on my way here that was that 87% of all financial transactions, business-to-business financial transactions, will pass through an SAP ERP system at some point, represents some astronomical amount of money, like $47 trillion. And if you go around, you ask probably all the vendors on the floor what they do in terms of governing risk and identity for SAP, very few of them would have any answer for that. They wouldn't have any focus on that. It's almost a complete greenfield in terms of vendors in this landscape. And so we saw that as a huge market opportunity that there was very little innovation taking place on, and that's where we're squarely focused.
Wow. I could see the possibilities, for your organization. I could see the impact that not having something like this could bring on. When you look at the use cases that CIOs, CISOs are most excited to tackle first, working with your company, what are those use cases?
So the use cases that we see a lot is that in regulated industries, there are three distinct groups of folks that are stakeholders in what we're doing. So you have chief information officers and by extension chief information security officers who really bear the brunt of the responsibility to produce the systems and the analytics and the information to support the next important group, which are IT auditors as well as internal controls. And then there's the app owner themselves. Now on the IT controls and audit side, they typically report up to the office of the CFO. And a lot of this is driven out of compliancy for like SOX 404 regulations. So if you're a publicly traded company, somebody at your company has to sign their financials. And those financials state that you have controls in place to ensure that people are not committing waste, fraud, or abuse on your systems. In order to facilitate understanding those entitlements, you have to serve up those requirements to IT, to CIOs and CISOs. And so what happens for us is that we're seeing use cases where people want to understand things like separation of duty, critical access reviews, fine-grained entitlements. If this person can add a vendor and they can pay a vendor, they might need that entitlement, but should they have added a vendor on Saturday afternoon? And what if the vendor's in Brazil and we don't do business in Brazil? That seems odd. And so now you have to get down into very detailed transactional level risk. Right. And so those are the kinds of use cases that we're seeing more and more organizations grappling with very little tooling or solutions in the area.
That stuff is scary. When you think about the CISO and the CIO now, they're clutching their pearls. The SEC said, we're not playing these games.
That's it. People go to jail now.
They go to jail. They have serious lawyer fees that someone has to pay the bill on. So I would imagine that when organizations see your solutions, they think peace of mind. I can sign this thing and feel confident in my decision.
Yeah, it's twofold. So we mitigate risk. We help organizations reduce authentic risk associated with their systems. And we also help people save time and money, because the way that they achieve these outcomes today is through manual processes. So you have a group of people within your organization called internal controls and IT audit, as well as the time of the folks in your IT team who are performing manual tasks to find this information, to figure out whether it's a false positive. And we reduce all of that. We automate it away. We save you time and money on your audit, reducing outside consulting fees for folks to come in and manually go through these processes. And so it's really it's a twofold message. It's risk mitigation and automation to save money and time.
When you look at Identiverse, you think of the long lineage that it has had. Like, it's been around for quite some time, and that's impact, bringing people together, bringing ideas, and looking at the impact it's brought to you by the attendees and organizations like Pathlock. So looking into the future, what kind of impact are the founders and even you hoping to leave with Pathlock?
Well, I think we want to leave a lasting legacy of understanding risk mitigation at all levels and being able to bring about change in terms of how organizations interact with sensitive data sets and mitigate risk for their customers, for their shareholders, and for their employees. And I think collectively, when you look at sort of all the different innovation that's taking place across the board, it's really exciting time in the world of identity security. I think almost a golden age, if you will.
Yeah.
It's funny, we've been talking about these issues for 20, 25 years. I've been involved in this, but there's more innovation and more enthusiasm about this topic today than there's ever been, and I suspect it's only going to continue to grow.
For sure. It seems like identity is having a glow up, and we're now hoping to use identity in the way that, I think some of the visionaries saw it years and years ago when Active Directory was exclusively identity.
That's it.
What are you most excited about looking at the rest of the event and conference for you? What are you hoping to see and experience, or who are you hoping to speak to?
Well, having great conversations not only with potential customers and existing customers, but partnerships. So there's a lot of 1 + 1 = 3 in both the technology as well as in the service delivery area. So we're having great conversations with the systems integrator ecosystems and the value-added resellers who truly are adding value in terms of the service delivery. And then there's a lot of opportunity to combine forces with other products. There's a number of traditional IGA players, if you want to refer to it that way. Great companies doing really exciting, innovative things that we can connect to those systems and accentuate what they're doing. And so hoping to have more conversations with some of the sort of technical alliances, as well as more customer conversations. Got to get that money.
You got to. And there's some people that are tuning in live that weren't able to be here and experience and also speak to yourself, see how Pathlock can help their organization. We would love for you to check out Pathlock and learn more about what they're doing by visiting securityweekly.com/Pathlock IDV. That's PATHLOCK-IDV. Damon, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me, letting me, ask you some questions about Pathlock and also IGA. Hope to speak to you soon. Highly recommend anyone to check you out online. Also check out Pathlock. And with that, we will see everyone on the next one.
Thank you.